In the beginning of the movie The 300, the Persian emissary confronts Spartan king Leonidas and lays out the plan for why humans have been killing each other for centuries. Earth and water. Whether you're reading the Old Testament or studying modern-day Middle East warfare, the issue is always land. That was the central issue in the 19th century when the American military continued to run into conflict with the Native Americans. After the Civil War, there were hundreds of thousands of Indians living west of the Mississippi, most of them in the Great Plains. There had been a long series of treaties between the American government and Native groups for decades. In 1834, it was required that you had a license to even enter Indian territory. Of course, many settlers just pushed on ahead anyway, especially when the promise of gold existed in California, or the Oregon Trail took people to new adventures, or the Transcontinental Railroad connected the country from sea to sea. By the 1850s, the United States moved away from the concept of one big reservation and went with the new idea of concentration, creating definite boundaries for the individual tribes. For example, the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapahoe were each given an area designated to be theirs. But these boundaries didn't really work for a culture that was following the buffalo for hunting, or had a nomadic lifestyle to begin with, or simply valued the freedom of movement. Still, these boundaries were supposed to be in effect for as long as the waters run and the grass shall grow. But really, it was only until the next group of settlers or miners came through and more conflict ensued. In 1864, Chief Black Kettle led 700 of his followers to a camp in Colorado looking for peace. What they found instead was a nightmare. The leader of the Colorado militia, John Chivington, led a massacre, and no one was spared, not even women and children, as they were brutally murdered. This Sand Creek massacre set off great reaction, not only anger among the Indian groups, but even outrage among many Americans. Congress investigated the incident as well. A treaty was established to try to calm things down, but that didn't prevent the Great Sioux Wars, also known as wars, from breaking out from 1865 to 1867. Debate continued among Americans. Particularly back east, there were many humanitarians who believed in civilizing the Indians, but definitely looking for peace. For a time, peace was established. In 1867, many of the groups came to terms, and by 1868, even the Treaty of Fort Laramie helped settle things down between the government and the Sioux. But it was only a matter of time before more American prospectors came through, tromping all over the Indian hunting grounds, looking for gold, and everybody felt the land was theirs, so conflict erupted once again. Into 1876, the American military is looking to settle things down, and an ambitious lieutenant colonel named George Armstrong Custer got a little ahead of himself and walked right into a Sioux camp filled with 2,500 to 3,000 warriors who promptly slaughtered Custer and his men in Custer's last stand. The power of the Sioux was broken by 1877, and a couple of groups remained, notably the Apache, for example. But by the end of the 1880s, the Indian Wars had come to a close. There's much more history to explain the conflict between the United States government and Native Americans, but the shortest answer of what went so wrong in the 19th century between the two groups is land. It's always the answer. As long as there are humans around and land, we will continue to fight. Let me know if you have a question or topic you want to be covered from U.S. history, and subscribe for more videos from USA History Vlog.